family custom in this village. Whenever someone dies, the villagers will put the dead on the tatami and float down the river. It is said that as long as you can successfully pass the stone bridge at the entrance of the village, you can be reincarnated. But the strange thing is that no one has succeeded for thousands of years. All the dead will hit the bridge pier without exception and sink into the dark bottom of the water. On this day, Nako, who grew up in the city, received the news that her grandmother was seriously ill and drove to the countryside alone to visit her. When passing the stone bridge, Nako saw an old man with a white body. At first, he thought the other party was his grandmother's friend and greeted him enthusiastically. But when the old man raised his head, this is not a friend. It is clearly a ghost. Nazi was frightened and knocked on the door of her grandmother's house. After opening the door, she quickly went into the house and locked it. Seeing her granddaughter's horrified face, her grandmother explained to her that it was her uncle, who died when she was very young. Since Nazi's grandfather passed away, those deceased villagers began to appear, standing on the bridge every night, waiting for the day when her grandmother died. Nazi looked through the window and saw that the bridge was full of ghosts, calling her grandmother's name. Nazi was almost scared crazy, but her grandmother was very calm. She told her granddaughter about an incident when she was young. At that time, my grandmother was only 15 years old and had a group of very good playmates. Among them was a boy named Zheng Ji. He was 8 feet tall and was the tallest man in the village. He was also my grandmother's fiancé. But on the day before the wedding, Zheng Ji was crushed to death by a tree that fell in the mountains. On the day of the funeral, the villagers used tatami mats to put him down. As Zheng Ji left the river bank, the young grandmother cried heartbrokenly. Just like the previous funeral, when approaching the bridge hole, Zheng Ji also hit the bridge pier and fell into the river ridge. But because he was too tall, he was stuck at the bridge hole. The grandmother looked down and found that Zheng Ji was staring at her with his eyes open. "I will always wait for you. You come quickly too." After hearing this, Nazi looked at the stone bridge again and found a tall figure under the bridge. The figure turned around and it was Zheng Ji, the grandmother's young fiancé. The grandmother knew that she was dying, and she begged Nazi, hoping that after her death, they could bury her in the soil. She didn't and Apos. T want to sink to the cold river bottom and feel the endless darkness. After that, the grandmother fell asleep and no longer breathed. Nazi called out to her grandmother anxiously. But suddenly, she woke up suddenly, and she didn't and Apos. T expect that everything was just a dream. She came to the door of her grandmother's but found that the scene here was exactly the same as in the dream. Even on the stone bridge, there was an old man standing. Although Nazi was very scared, she still walked forward bravely. This time she didn't say hello to the man, but the other party spoke first. Nazi hurried into the house to check, but she couldn't see her grandmother. She took her out of the courtyard and found that everything was like a dream. The stone bridge was full of deceased villagers, shouting her grandmother's name loudly. Nazi just watched her grandmother float down the river, just like before on the bridge pier, and then sank into the water. She hurried to the shore and wanted to grab her grandmother's body, but the river was turbulent and she didn't do it in the end. Grandma still sank into the glacier. She didn't want to sink into the most, and those villagers finally got what they wanted. When Nazi looked back, the bridge was empty. Instead, there was a small figure next to a tall black shadow.